Back in 2011, Mark Henry used to wear a shirt basically saying, "Welcome to the Hall of Pain." Mark Henry now is going to be referred to as a Hall of Famer. Mark Henry had a long career in WWE where basically he debuted back in 1996 after competing in the Olympics as a weightlifter. Basically, Vince McMahon saw Mark Henry as the next great American hero to come and learn the world of professional wrestling. I believe that, early on, I think that WWF had hopes of Mark Henry becoming one of the main guys in the company, something that maybe Ken Patera couldn't do during his time with WWF back in the day. But as you can see with what happened with, Kurt Angle, I think Vince McMahon has always wanted to have an Olympic, I don't even want to say gold medalist, but basically just an Olympic hero to have. That basically, I don't think a lot of people knew who Mark Henry was coming in 1996. That basically Vince dressed him up in all red, white, and blue. Most people don't even know that Henry didn't even basically win in the Olympics, but just the fact that he was there and was a part of it was enough. Basically, Mark Henry was trained to wrestle, was one of the first people that really was put through their developmental. He trained with people in WWF before going and actually wrestling for Jerry Lawler's USWF. And that's one of the reasons why when Lawler was brought up to the main roster and was a part of, I believe it was at an In Your House when he actually made his debut, when he came out and actually saved Jake the Snake Roberts from Jerry Lawler. With basically Jerry was pouring Jack Daniels on Jake Roberts because his angle at the time was that he was a recovering alcoholic, and Mark Henry actually got physical with him. That led to him actually getting into the ring and starting his career. It's easy to say that Mark Henry didn't, pull off being gangbusters in the WWF before joining the Nation of Domination. Even at then, basically he was second banana to D'Lo Brown, but he was a character there before sort of spinning off into Sexual Chocolate, where he was a big part of the Attitude Era. Never really won anything more than the European Championship, feuding with D'Lo. But from there, basically, he would have battles with his weight, where he would be sent back down to Ohio Valley to sort of get back into feud and get back into shape. Somewhere around 2004 to 2005 is when things really clicked for him, where he became a member of SmackDown. Of course, at this point was when they were doing the brand split, and the rosters weren't as deep on SmackDown. And basically, I think it would have been Paul Heyman was in charge of SmackDown at that time. Really got behind Henry and really made him a force, where basically he would have feuds against The Undertaker and against Batista, and be looked at as the guy that really could, be champion. He wouldn't win the championship, I believe, until 2011. I believe it was on Night of Champions when it was a big upset when he beat Randy Orton. To me, I really think that it was an upset because Henry had been around so long and sort of always been one of those guys that when they wanted to heat him up, they can heat him up and be somebody that would be like main event against Mark Henry on SmackDown. It's going down. Hall of Pain. But I don't really think anybody really thought that he was a chance of winning. If you go back and watch that show, seeing Mark Henry win the championship, people popped for it, even though he was a heel, because he was something fresh. It was not Randy Orton being the champion. Kind of the same reason why earlier that year, when Christian won the championship in that ladder match against Del Rio, that people really went crazy for it. I don't really remember when the retirement angle was with John Cena. I do remember that basically during that fake retirement speech, he came out wearing the salmon-colored jacket. He put his boots down. Basically said that one of his regrets is that he never was able to be WWF champion. And at that point is when he attacked John Cena and set up the match that they had. I'll tell you the truth. When Mark Henry was on SmackDown, they always seemed to push him more. Monday Night Raw, he sort of fell into that whole sort of I don't know what place to put him. Or basically he just sort of sat in the weeds, maybe tag teaming with MVP, things like that. Stuff that really was a part of the show, but never really was anything that important. I'm surprised that he's going into the Hall of Fame on his first year of being there. To me, honestly, that's always been saved for guys like Edge or Shawn Michaels, people that were retired and were true legends that they got in that year. We haven't really had a time to miss Mark Henry. I know that the announcement was sort of made, and then Henry actually came out and said it was a little bit premature, and then he wasn't really officially retired yet. But I just made a video on Mark Henry not that long ago. I'm not going to say that he's not a Hall of Famer. I'm going to say that, he did a lot in wrestling, and he was always one of those guys that was a part of the show, whether if you loved him or hate him. He probably had one of the longest runs in WWF that there's ever been, coming from 96 all the way until today. We'll have to see. I mean, the guy loved wrestling. He sure did, respect my privacy. Everybody remembers those stories from the YWC with people, trying to meet Mark Henry. I made a video a while back about meeting him at Wrestlemania 27. He sure wasn't the nicest guy in the world. I got another chance to meet him. Really wasn't that nice that time either. Promised me if I ever sold the autograph where he signed by Night of Champions DVD cover, that he would never sign an autograph in the state of California ever again. To me, honestly, I got that DVD cover signed because I wanted my DVDs to mean something to me. With the network, I don't really pull them out and look at them or even watch them anymore. So having those is pretty cool to have it sitting there on the shelf, especially if it's the night that he wins the championship. So we'll see what goes down. The Hall of Fame doesn't look like it's the greatest class of all time this year, but Mark Henry seems like he's the guy to finish out the year. So congratulations to Henry, and we'll see what goes on. A lot of people to go in next year.